You get what you're going to get in this world. And I think it's becoming a better world. I really do. I truly do. People like you guys, and you're doing things like this. It's all good. It's all good that I see, that I feel. Perhaps we could help others. And if just one, that's fine.
People, hair is important to them. It's part of their body. It's part of who they are. I got out of the military. I started growing my hair, and ever since then I've cut my hair. It's part of who I am. Some type of identity.
Hair in my culture has to do a lot with your life, your health. Important to take care of it. Things are going well in your life, then your hair might grow long.
Hair is a source of honor and pride. The better you take care of your hair and the longer it is, it shows that you love yourself, who you are. You take pride in your people, in your culture, in your language.
The way I understand it, when you're able to be a man, when you're ready to take that step and grow your hair out, symbolizes I'm ready to move on, to stop being a boy, move into adulthood, move into responsibility as a man.
We are told both males and females should have long hair, and we have a lot of stories how we should be. It represents our thinking, our relationship we have with the earth, and we're also supposed to have our hair tied up.
My grandma wanted us to have long hair. The only reason to cut it was in mourning. After my father passed away, she told us not to cut our hair. I guess she's seen too many young people cut their hair and never grow it back.
Seems to be this disconnect that an indigenous young person could, for circumstances out of their control, maybe grew up in an urban setting, maybe did not have a connection to the teachings of their people. And so they are indigenous, by heritage and by right, but because of these stereotypes of what it means to be indigenous, that they might very well feel that they are not.
With identity crises, it depends on the age level or the generation of the person who seeks our assistance. The younger women, a lot of times they sit there, and I don't think they've ever been asked that question before. And it's not a sense of pride like I am a Native American woman. It's just, I'm Indian or I'm half, or, you don't get that same pride as you do when we work with the older women.
Identity crisis comes down to two things, loss of culture and the loss of language.
One of the lingering effects of colonialism is that a young person does not see how that separation, the reason why they grow up in an urban setting, or the reason why that they don't know their traditions.
The only person I could really connect to as far as directly in my family was my father, who as well went through a lot of conflicting cultural struggles because he was Apache, but then he left the reservation at a fairly young age.
I try to maintain and still practice what my ancestors practiced.
It's hard to say someone's traditional when they drive a car. It's hard to maintain that cultural integrity when we have off-reservation Walmart, Safeway, Shopco.
The dominant society, because of racialization of Native people, view Native people in a very stereotypical manner. People living in the 19th century, that they have to have long hair, that they have to walk around in buckskin clothes. But that does not allow then for contemporary, current people who are Native, how they think of themselves. They are still bound by an outsider's imposition of what it means to be Native upon them.
I've struggled myself because my mother being Southern Ute, and then my father was white. And we grew up on the reservation, and as a child we had so many issues. You're not full blood, you're a half-breed.
I moved to Ignacio in 87. At that time when I came back, I was lost because I was drinking way too much, even getting beat up, and left for dead. And I'm full-blooded Indian, and to some people that didn't matter. Yeah, you're full-blooded Indian, but you're not from this tribe.
made sure the odds weren't even. There's blood on our hands all the time. Like she's been so busy. Teach you read between the lines, or they teach you not to question. Blood on our hands all the time. They've taken it all away, buried the past with lies. The pain is still melting.
When I heard about it, it just blew me away. You know, I don't know what the reasons were. You know, and you know, working in the newspaper business, you know, you keep up with the facts. You know, you try to figure out what's going on.
I've always considered myself a strong man. And I found out I'm not as strong as I thought I was. But in a good way. I don't look at it as being weakness. I look at it as another form of strength. And my companion once said that it don't make you any weaker than shed tears. It just makes you more of a human being. I've always told my boys, we all walk this path, you know. Not one of us gets out of this without passing on. I don't like, never have liked the word death. To me, it's kind of like a final word, an ending, you know. And in a way, it is ending this reality. But I always knew, I know that there's more. I told my boys once, when Dad leaves this world, they didn't like me talking that way. I said, don't say that, Dad, don't say that. I said, no, really, listen to what Dad said. They did. I said, the first time it rains after Dad leaves this world, when I pass on, I said, go outside, put your hands, your face up, and let Dad touch you one more time. And I did. My son, it snowed, it didn't rain. And I went out and I put my hands up and my face up. Let my son touch me one more time. They chewed him out too, by the way. Said it was supposed to be Dad doing this. You doing this, not Dad.
For some reason, I didn't want to know what happened. You heard the horror stories, you know, about the scissors and, you know, how this guy was tied up and, you know, stuffed in the trunk or whatever. Yeah, you know, and I don't know all the details. But it was just hard for me to believe that, you know, such a, you know, something like this would happen here, you know, but it could happen anywhere.
There have been so many deaths, and they have been related to alcohol and drugs. And I think that what most of us do is we put it away and we don't deal with it.
I feel that the four together almost like fueled each other's rage.
I don't agree with what happened. Like, the whole reason why it happened, to me, to question that guy's traditionalism and to be drinking at the same time and to take someone's life because they don't believe that he was traditional enough. I think it's ridiculous to me.
Because I can identify with that. You know, I don't know. If somebody challenged me to sing some songs, I wouldn't know how.
Within our community, we still have not talked about it at all. So the victim's family, they live here, they move forward. The defendant's families, everybody's kind of in their own little bubble. And us as community members, we just pretend that it didn't exist.
It's like that saying that they say about alcoholics. You know, it's that big pink elephant in your living room. And you don't want to acknowledge it, but you know it there. You look at it through the side of your eyes. You know he's there. You know she's there. But you just kind of like want to go like this and continue with what you're doing.
Because you don't know how to sing a song, I'm going to kill you because of that? That's bullshit.
Murder is what it was. Death is what it is. Once we recognize it and we acknowledge it, then we can move forward. But to recognize it is a big step. And then healing from that is what takes place afterward.
I wanted to fax some stuff back to Oklahoma to my tribe, and the lady looked at the name on the elderly lady. Looked at the name, and she looked up at me and she said, I didn't know who you were until I saw your name. And she said, she told me about my son, how he made everybody laugh, and it was, she said he was like a ray of sunshine when he walked in with his stories, and she said he just brightened up everybody's day. And she said, I don't know if I'm supposed to or tell you this, but I'm going to tell you the last book he read, the last book he checked out. And it was Leonard Peltier, Jailhouse Writings, My Life is My Sundance. And he had underlined some stuff in there about forgiveness. Like I said, he touched many lives, more lives than I realized. He's free and happy now.
I believe we all have to kind of lose ourselves for a bit to realize who we are.
It wasn't until I came to college and that I'm surrounded by all these different tribes and all these different traditions that it's all right to be who you are as far as being a native is concerned in the 21st century.
So over the years, just growing up, I've just come to the realization that Creator made me the way that I am. He put me in the place that I am with the parents that I have. And if it was supposed to be different, it would be different.
I think of traditional knowledge, traditional ways of looking at the world and of acting in the world. They're kind of like seeds. And even if there are only a few of those seeds left, if we're diligent, we can plant those seeds and they'll start to grow and produce more.
And it doesn't matter, the race or the color, and it doesn't matter what's happening. It's that you're accepting that person. You've acculturated them.
Nothing's ever going to be perfect. I mean, that's what we try to strive for, but that's why we wake up every morning and try to make things better.
I don't drink, I don't smoke, I always made it my goal to be a sober person, because I believe you have to deal with this life with a clear head.
I don't want to deny any part of myself, and if I turned my back on the traditional ways, then I'd be losing a piece of myself.
Everything I'm saying, someone else told me. So it's not my words, someone else's words, and I'm just trying to carry on what they taught me.
So I would say that I'm non-traditional, but I still try to live the best that I can with the teachings that I have from my family, from my dad, from my people too,
It kind of made sense to me not to be too worried about defining myself as one background or anything like that, but rather just understanding where I came from was more important, and having that connection with the land and traditions. That's, I guess, when I kind of found more peace inside myself.
We have to try to preserve our own stories, and most of the time there are a lot of stories, a lot of stereotypes, a lot of different opinions about us, where usually Native voices are not considered or brought up.
Sunset after sunset, always a moment too soon to realize. It's always a moment to regret. I'm falling through the footsteps of the past, falling under the weight of the future. 'Cause sometimes I can only react, and sometimes I'm just an actor. Yeah, hey,